This is a critique of Mrs. Faye D Souza and her unbiased 200-word journalism with reference to how she has covered the crisis in Venezuela. She has 3 posts on this issue as I'm making this video. The first post explains the context, how US has invaded Venezuela, kidnapped their president and flown them to the United States, what have been the global reactions, disappointing of course, etc. People should know, of course, this is a good move. The other 2 posts, however, deserve to be called out. The second post is a video of people of Venezuela celebrating the capture of their own president. Now, I'm not saying that the video is fake, but I can show you 10 different videos where people are also protesting against the capture of their president. My question then is that why were those videos not premiered on your platform? Why selectively show a portion of truth? The third post deserves even more careful scrutiny. I want you to focus at the framing. Why was Maduro widely condemned in Venezuela? Now, for an average person who doesn't know about the politics of Venezuela or Latin America, the impression this gives is that he was a widely unpopular leader. And this, coupled with people celebrating his capture, all of this suggests that the move by United States was actually a good move. It was a pro-people of Venezuela move, which is far from reality. US imperialism, violation of international law and sovereignty, all whitewashed right there. Now let's look at the essay Why was Maduro widely condemned in Venezuela? Hyperinflation, economy was mismanaged, there was a refugee crisis, shortage of essential supplies like medicines, etc, etc. All of that is true. But my problem is that why did the crisis arise in the first place? That's because of US sanctions. And this post does not even mention that the West, including United States, have imposed multitudes of sanctions on Venezuela because Maduro refused to bow to Trump, who wanted their oil. No mention of that at all. To understand the impact of sanctions, look at this report by a UN reporter that said that before the blockade, Venezuela was spending 76% of its oil revenues on social programs. Now it can't even invest 1% of that. Sanctions on the economic activity directly impede the government's ability to guarantee human rights for its population, which has held a devastating impact on the whole population of Venezuela. Or this 2019 article by Washington Post that explained how sanctions back then in 2019, oil production fell by 4 lakh barrels per day in Venezuela, leading to a loss of $8 billion US. And of course, that's a huge amount, and it is enough to paralyze the economy of any country. The limited point being that the economic crisis in Venezuela does not necessarily arise because of incompetency of Maduro, but because of sanctions and blackmailing by US and its allies. And look at the other part of the problem that talks about free and fair elections in Venezuela, dissenters being punished, etc, etc. Now the problem with that framing is that all nation states are at the end of the day guilty of that, right? If you look at the comment section, people are literally saying that this sounds awfully similar. Rigged elections, dissenters being labeled as anti-nationals and being harassed, arrested, etc. All of this sounds vaguely familiar to most people in the comment section itself. Does that mean United States has the right to intervene in all those nations and capture their elected head of states, including India? And who's going to debunk the US narrative that this was never about drugs? Because Trump, in fact, recently pardoned the president of Honduras, who was convicted of drug smuggling, and that there was a secret meeting between World Bank, IMF officials and the leader of opposition in Venezuela to discuss investment opportunities once Maduro was displaced from power, and that this leader of opposition in question, the so-called democratic leader, is actually an Israel sympathizer, and Maduro has been a vocal supporter of the Palestinian state and the Palestinian cause. Yes, Maduro was a threat to US imperialism, not people of United States, and that's a crucial difference to understand. The larger point behind making this video was to call out that how short form content is actually misleading, and it's impossible for it to cover all nuances. So this is also an appeal to everyone who has watched this video till here, that read better and do not rely on such short form content. Thank you for your attention to this matter.